Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. I'm your host, Nick Fiorella, and today I'm chatting with Noah Smith, the new president of the Colorado Film and Video Association, better known as CFVA. With a strong background in filmmaking and a passion for community building, Noah is stepping into this leadership role at an exciting moment for Colorado's film scene, for sure. Yeah, a lot going on. On this episode, we'll dive into his filmmaking journey, the CFVA's mission and vision for the future, and ultimately what the future holds for the Colorado film scene. Noah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we've been trying to get together for this conversation for a little bit.
It's been a minute.
A lot of crazy schedules.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the story of the Colorado film community right now is crazy schedules. So
for sure. Well, how's your week going? What have you been up to?
It's been okay. I think it's been a very, very busy month, and we're coming to the end of that, and it's winding down in some ways and then winding up for the fall in other ways.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah. I've been too many projects, as I was saying, but yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. And before we get into the CFVA, I'd like to talk about you for a little bit. Ultimately, how did you get into video production and, I don't know, like schooling and stuff like that, ultimately to where you work now, and then kind of getting into leading, into being the president at the CFVA?
Yeah, completely. It is a long story. I guess in some ways I can blame YouTube and Legos for starting my journey into film. As a kid, got really into the stop motion Lego things on YouTube, and wanted to create some of that myself, and just started along that path. Some of my earliest little very, very short films I've found are those just Lego stop motion pieces.
That's awesome.
And that was how I got into learning video editing software and all of that. Took a little bit of a break on that, and in high school was a part of the International Baccalaureates program.
What's that?
It is similar to AP, but is a singular program and is used around the world instead of just in the United States. And so it's supposed to be a very international education, but it is also very intensive. And so was not super focused on arts for that period of my life until around my senior year, when one of my electives was able to be IB film. And so I dove back in and really fell in love with it again. Wasn't really sure that I'd be able to make a career out of it in any way at that point, but really enjoyed it as a passion. And then went off to college. Had kind of burned myself out a little bit on academics, but was like, I'm going to do this college thing for a bit, and got to where I was looking for what I wanted to major in, and realized that the thing that I was the most happy doing was making films. And also that the fact that I had this very broad interest in many, many different things, that was something that film could allow me to do.
Totally.
And then, there I went to CU Denver, their film program, which it was a really exciting time to be there. They were growing really, really rapidly. They had just moved into the old Stars Center underneath the Tivoli.
Okay.
And that was a really cool place to be. They had brand new theaters in there. They had there's actually a wall in one of the hallways right outside where you do equipment rental that is signed by all sorts of people who had done the Stars Film Fest there, including a personal favorite of mine, Don Hertzfeld.
Okay. That's awesome. Cool, man.
So really cool time to be going there. Had some really incredible instructors. And then along that path, I met an alumni from CU Denver, Ian Kellett, whose dad at the time was looking for an editing intern for a YouTube channel that he was running. And Ian hired me on, and I started editing with him. And some of you may know Ian Kellett is the former CFVA vice president, or CFVA president, I should say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that name sounds super familiar to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he took me on under this YouTube channel, Living Overseas, and we did some work together and really built a strong friendship and mentorship. And then eventually I joined his production company, Liquid Luck Productions, and worked with them for like 7 years.
Oh wow, okay. I saw that on your LinkedIn. I was curious. I didn't know if that was like your company or what, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Ian and Lauren Kellitz, and his wife Lauren, and worked with them on all sorts of projects, including one of my dearest and favorite clients, Pop Culture Classroom, who used to be the nonprofit that was running Denver Comic-Con at the time. That has undergone a lot of changes, and unfortunately Pop Culture Classroom is no longer in existence anymore. But that whole progress happened, and then COVID.
Okay.
And with COVID coming in, we had very little projects,
Sure.
of course. And Ian and I actually started a little D&D podcast program that we did for a while during COVID called Creative Crits. And
Cool.
as COVID was kind of as the wind down from the major parts of COVID was happening, it became very clear to me that the economy and the industry was still going to be very, very volatile at the time. So I started to look for something that was more consistent, but something that still aligned with my values. And that's how I came to be at University of Denver and working there in their Office of Advancement. So I know that was a really long story.
No, that's cool. I was always kind of curious. Yeah, I've been meaning to hook up with you for coffee or something like that. And I'm in a very similar boat, but slightly different. But yeah, man, like I worked at a production company, and then they didn't quite have enough work. And then I ended up getting like this corporate in-house videographer job, kind of similar, I feel like, to the same kind of setup a little bit with the university, I assume.
Yeah.
Are you just on their marketing team, and then you're like an in-house video producer?
Yeah, so I sit within the Office of Advancement, which is the fundraising wing of the university.
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
And so still within my kind of nonprofit world, the university itself is a nonprofit. And we have our own little marketing team that we all coordinate and work together, and we're currently working on a $1 billion fundraising campaign that started a year and a half ago, called the Denver Difference, and we're working on that, and I'm working to develop a marketing campaign with them that will continue that campaign for the next 5 to 7 years. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really exciting place to be in a lot of ways. I mean, at the end of the day, I get to tell stories about people doing incredible work.
Yeah, and for a school, I would imagine there's some really cool stories to tell, and ones that, would have kind of a little more emotional impact. The company I work for is construction products, so similar access and reliability, as you said, for a job, but like, I don't know, it would be kind of like awesome, I feel like, to work for like a school or like a health organization or something like that, where you're kind of getting into personal stories.
Yeah.
Not that a contractor's build is not a personal story, but that's cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, and I went to that event. This was a while back with Robbie, where I like helped out as a second shooter. I mean, was that part of that same?
Yeah.
Was that the kickoff event?
Yeah, that was the kickoff event for the campaign, and that was about 2 years of work to put that together.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And it was a really incredible event with a lot of different aspects put into it, including, the video on the video screens, and what they call the anthem video for the campaign. That was a very big deal. And we actually brought in Futuristic, another local production company, to help us out with that. And I directed while Will DP'd, and some of the rest of their team helped out with gaffing and lighting and all of that. Every once in a while, I would say about once a year, I get to actually direct a team, which is always delightful.
For sure. That's cool. Yeah, that was quite an event. I thought the videos all looked super professional. I don't know. Do you guys have certain cameras that you use in there? Or?
Yeah,
Just out of curiosity.
So our in-house camera is an FX3.
Yep, sweet, nice.
You know, I think it's in a lot of ways the standard for a lot of the work that we do. The high-end standard for a lot of the work that we do. When Futuristic comes in and works with us, they're bringing in an Alexa,
Cool.
which is always really fun to get those really rich and lovely skin tones on it that come from an Alexa. And then, I think that it was as I came in, they told me, buy a camera, buy equipment, figure out everything you're going to need for the next couple of years. And I, historically, I suppose, have been somebody who uses a lot of Panasonic cameras.
I'm in the exact same boat, dude. I have an FX3. I used to use Panasonic. Yeah, totally.
I really love the new stuff they're coming out with right now, but it's just not a good time for me to transition, and it's not good enough for me to want to transition to a new camera. But I think Panasonic's always had this willingness to innovate and also put in a lot of features that you're able to kind of build the camera you want out of that camera.
Yeah, totally.
But, Sony's just, they get the image done and it's efficient.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm sure like you, it's like after you've invested in the lenses and stuff, it's like, oh man, to switch now. And I know everyone's talking about this new Nikon camera.
Yeah.
But I'm going to roll with my FX3 and then, hire out for certain shoots and stuff like that. That would be, whatever. But
yeah.
That's cool. Well, and then ultimately, like getting into becoming the president of the CFVA, like, tell me about that journey. And then ultimately, now that you're, in there, and you talked about this a little bit before we started, but kind of, what do you feel is, that you're bringing to the role and kind of is how you kind of facilitate things and
Absolutely.
whatnot?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think my relationship with the CFVA probably started when I was in college, and in a lot of ways they were, to me, from an external point of view, a bunch of older, predominantly white men who had a particular vision of the way that the industry once was. And that wasn't really something that was approachable for me. And then as I started working with Ian and he started getting more and more involved with the CFVA, there was started to be a lot of changes at the CFVA around that time, in like the 2018-ish, kind of that time.
Okay, I was going to ask, like, and it's always interesting to hear the history of like Colorado stuff, because I'm pretty new to moving here. Well, I'm like 6 or 7 years now, so not a little new, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I started this podcast. It's like a whole investigation of the scene, because like, I don't know, it seems a little odd or not, I don't know, or not obvious or something, and a little, so like, I don't know. And then to hear some of the history I've heard about, like,
absolutely,
like, I don't know, government stuff to do with, anyway, but sorry.
Go
ahead.
I think that's actually a really important conversation to have too, is that, the CFVA started in 1982 as primarily an organization that mostly videographers were a part of. Mm-hmm. And then, at the time there was film being made in Colorado, right? Like it was not the landscape that it became in the early 2000s and the 2010s, where nothing would be made here unless we had film incentives.
Right.
And then that came about, and the CFVA had to change. And the CFVA was a very, very large organization at one point, and then constricted a fair amount during that time because of a bunch of different factors. But one of those being that film production got a lot more siloed here. It got a lot less productive, and it didn't necessitate as large of an organization. And now we're seeing, now that I'm coming in here, we're seeing this moment where film in Colorado is beginning to grow again, and we're beginning to see some light at the end of this tunnel.
Right.
And I am very excited to see where that leads us, but it also definitely comes with a lot of challenges.
Sure. Well, that's very interesting to hear you talk about the CFVA as an organization and how that's changed over the years. And I've talked a little bit about, I think it was in like the 90s or something, they passed this very discriminatory law that really pissed a lot of Hollywood people off. And they used to do a bunch of productions here. And then after that, they kind of all said, well, the hell with you, you know, rightfully so. It was like, you know, the details of it, were, effed up, you know, and it's like, yep. Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, it's interesting to hear the evolution too with some of the organizations and whatnot. Well, that's awesome that you're kind of coming in from that perspective. And I've talked to, you know, there's certainly people from WIFMCO and like CFVA that are very much carrying the same tune, you know, more inclusive and whatnot. So that's awesome that you are looking to kind of come in and really focus on that.
Yeah, I think, you know, what it really comes down to in a practical sense is that if we aren't supporting every member of our community and creating those varying levels of entry and of engagement, then we don't have a healthy community. We could have people earning millions of dollars here, but if we don't have somebody who can just earn a living here, then it doesn't matter. Sure.
Cool. Well, and as far as your role, I don't know, kind of what do you see as your role just in terms of and I don't know, how long is it? Every year that they elect a president, or is this
it's usually every other year?
Okay, so 2 years. All right. I don't know. What do you see as your role? And I don't know if you kind of what you've done so far is sort of executing on kind of some goals that you guys might have and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see my role as president as more of a facilitator, as somebody who enables our community to do the things that it needs to do to succeed, whether that be our membership, the broader film industry, our board members, or our volunteers. And that is what my main focus is. I think historically, a lot of the time with the CFVA, there was a set of goals that was built, and then the board was pigeonholed into getting those goals done. I see it more as, let's look at the strengths of our organization. Let's look at the needs of our community. Let's look at the strengths of each individual board member and see how we can utilize those strengths to actually achieve goals.
Sure.
You know, this gets into a bit of that nerdiness that is the D&D podcast that I talked about, but I see more of my role as the proverbial game master of the board, where I create the potential for action to happen, but the board members and the members are the ones who have to take that action.
Sure.
No,
that makes sense. Yeah, that's cool. Well, and I mean, you know, for those listening that might not be familiar with the CFVA, I should probably at least just hit on, you know, can you explain what the CFVA is and, you know, ultimately the mission?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know.
The CFVA is Colorado's oldest and sometimes largest film organization. We are a 501c6, which means we are a membership organization, and that our mission is for the benefit of our industry and our members. And so our mission historically has been to increase the film industry in Colorado through various means, whether that is education, networking, connection, or any other needs that our community may have. Grants are another aspect of
certainly
that as well.
Education, or maybe you said that. You guys do all kind of learning events and stuff. I would encourage anyone to go on the website and check them out. But anyway, sorry.
Absolutely. No, yeah. I think education is something that when I first started on the board, that was my central mission, was the thing that I wanted to engage with the most. And so that had to do with our Pros Ask Pros, our mentorship program, and our engagement with the film schools. And as time has gone on, and with some of the newer things that we're working on, we've realized that some of those missions and some of those goals can be better achieved by partnering and supporting other organizations rather than us trying to build something from the ground up.
Sure.
That being said, education is still a very high priority for us, because we know that so many people come out of film school and they have the technical skills, but they don't necessarily have that post-education pipeline that they need to succeed. And I know, I was just talking to somebody the other day who was telling me that they are only one other person in their graduating class has a job in film. And I think that was fairly similar for me as well. It's fairly low on the success rate there, and there is such a broad industry here. We have the capabilities to meet more of those needs, not all those needs, but more of those needs, and but we just need to build some of that infrastructure.
Yeah, totally. And you mean films specifically? Because there's a lot of video production jobs out there.
Yeah,
that technically is filmmaking, but maybe for brands and on a more corporate approach. But I don't know.
I think generally speaking, and this is across the board in almost all arts fields right now, entry level jobs are severely lacking. That pipeline that goes from film school or art school to your intermediate job is often being taken up by people who are putting in the lowest bids, and people who are not necessarily helping our industry by selling themselves really, really low, and also creating a system where the folks who perhaps more accurately should be fulfilling some of those jobs, because that's the level of skill that they're at, are unable to get into that position and are stuck just looking for anything and everything that they could possibly find. Sure.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. I definitely have been in meetings just like at the corporate job I'm at, where it's like, man, people that do have like a artistic background have so much to bring to the table in a lot of these discussions, because a lot of it's problem solving. And I feel like creative people are good at problem solving, and filmmaking is very much problem solving. So yeah, I mean, I do think that people, that go to film or art school have so much value to bring. But yeah, maybe it's just hard sometimes to get your foot in the door and have the opportunity to prove that value. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love all the events you guys do. They are excellent. You guys do a great job with like monthly events. And yeah, I mean, on that note, like as far as like, the rest of this year in 2025 and 2026, like programs, initiatives that you guys maybe have coming up that people should look out for, and ultimately what would be the best way to find out about these events and stuff too?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who's interested should go to cfva.com/events. That is where all of our events get listed, including events that are other community events. We try and add those on our calendar as well, so that there's a central resource for folks to go to. But coming up, I think this will actually air the day that this is happening, but we have the film summit, that leadership summit that's happening on the 3rd and 4th, where folks will be gathering together to respond to some of last year's findings from the town hall. That will be a really engaged event with a lot of interesting leaders from the community. And ideally, we will have some actionable steps that we can then bring back to the film town hall that'll be happening on November 15th. And that'll be, once again, including folks from throughout Colorado at various locations. Locations are still pending, but at various locations. And folks can come, they can engage, they can have their voices heard, and we can also do some response and learning from some of the initiatives and actionable steps that we come up with through the Film Summit.
Right.
Another one of our events that's happening in between that is our Halloween party, which is always a wonderful time. It turns out filmmakers tend to be really good at Halloween.
Sure.
So we're doing that on October 24th. That'll be at Wolf Love Studios, which is pretty much a brand new studio that was just built recently. And that'll be a really, really good time. Wolf Love in my mind is semi notorious in some ways, in the sense that I've seen their stickers around for years in Colorado, but hadn't met them until recently, and they're lovely people. So we're very excited to be working with them on that. And then after that, we have our holiday party, which is on December 18th, and that one is location pending as well. But our holiday party is always a big event, and we always have a great time. We're still in the works of planning exactly what this year's will look like, but we really enjoyed what we were able to put together last year, so we'll probably do something fairly similar to to what we put together last year.
Nice.
And then
Yeah.
lastly, of course, we have the State of the State that is happening in February, early February, and that will be a time for all of our industry leaders to report out on what is happening in the current status of the film industry here, which hopefully will have a second year in a row where we have a lot of positive news and a lot of good momentum, like it was last year.
Yeah, totally.
And we'll be able to take some of that information from the town hall as well and report out on that there. As the year cycle begins again, this film summit, film town hall, and State of the State will begin to rotate over time. And so ideally what we'll be doing is we'll be reporting out at the State of the State. And then in years in the future, we'll be doing the town hall after that, getting information from our community and engaging with the community, and then doing the leadership summit to ingest that information and create actionable steps. And then we have another State of the State where we report all of that out.
That's cool.
Creating that rotating schedule that makes sure that we are constantly meeting the current needs of our industry.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I went to the State of the State last year and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. And that was a good idea, like to kind of bridge it into this leadership summit as here was the State of the State. How are we going to, next steps? I love it. Yeah. That's awesome.
I can't take too much credit. I mean, Shauna Schultz is such a champion for our industry, and she really stepped up when it came to creating the town hall. And, like I said, as my role as president, in addition to my role in engaging with these things, is just finding where I can fit in and make sure that somebody like Shauna is able to do the work that she's doing and make sure that she's achieving those really lofty goals that she has for our industry.
Yeah, no, she's very sharp. Love working with her. Ultimately, do you have to be a member to attend these? Can you?
No. So all of these events, the Film Summit, the Film Town Hall, and the State of the State, those are all open to the general public. The Summit has a fairly high ticket price because you're coming to work, right? And you're coming to engage. And we want to have a really engaged population there who has already bought into the idea. Mm-hmm. The town hall, though, is free, and that one, there's no membership required. Just the information will be up on our website when all of that is available, and you can come, you can make your voice heard, you can engage with us on some problem solving, and it's a really solid opportunity to do all of that.
Cool. But I would definitely encourage people to, especially if you're involved in video production and you're looking to get involved in video production as a profession, you should definitely become a member of the CFVA. There's
Absolutely.
Some great benefits to that. And I think most of the events then are free. You don't have to pay, it's usually a small fee, even if you do have to pay. But
for most of our events during the year, it is usually somewhere in the $15 range for non-members to come and hang out with us. Mm-hmm. Most of that is just to make sure that we're covering drinks and location fees. Right, Sometimes when we do a very special event, that charge needs to be more because we're trying to cover more. But almost always our events, besides the Film Leadership Summit, are free to members. And so if you do become a member for that $75 a year, you're covering all your events for the whole year. And you're getting that opportunity to engage with our broader community on the regular. You are able to support the other filmmakers in the industry as well. A portion of your membership actually goes to the Denver Film Society and helps to support that initiative. And the membership itself helps to also support students and helps to support underserved populations within our community who may have a need to engage with and network with the rest of us. And yeah.
For sure. No, I mean, yeah, I would encourage people to go become a member. Even obviously you guys do great events, great learning opportunities, but also just the networking, you know. And on that note, I mean, just as far as filmmakers, students, production professionals, how does the CFVA help those people to connect and grow? I feel like we kind of hit it though with these events you guys do. And ultimately, is there any other resources that, I don't know, as if people were becoming a member or access to
Yeah.
your guys' organization that people should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, when we do have grants available, and unfortunately we haven't had grants available in the recent years, but when we do have grants available, those are available to members.
Okay.
As well as our Pros Ask Pros, that we are working on getting that going again, and that will be something that is typically the videos that we collect from those and that we make from those are available to members afterwards, and then of course those events are also free to our membership. And then our mentorship program, when that returns, which has been something that has been on my mind. I keep getting the emails from everybody I know. They want the mentorship program back. It'll come. It's much more complex to make sure that we're accurately pairing folks than you would expect.
Sure.
But that's another benefit that folks, I think a lot of, especially folks within that pipeline that I talked about, that post-education pipeline, really value. And on top of that, I think that there is something somewhat intangible to engaging with an organization like the Colorado Film and Video Association. Totally. It is this part of being something more than just like your own little isolated island of a production company. And it's about starting to engage with a broader community across Colorado, which makes us much more powerful, and it makes us much more able to prove our worth to the general population of Colorado, which means that the General Assembly takes us more seriously. It means that investors take us more seriously. It means that folks who come into our states take us more seriously when they come to produce films here, or when they come to be an actor here, whatever that may be. Making sure that we are interconnected and that we represent ourselves as a broader community ensures that we can create an industry that is resilient and that can face a lot of the challenges that come from a lot of the attention that we're currently getting from outside of the state.
Sure. I mean, one of the big things from that Colorado film study was how siloed we are. And certainly the landscape of Colorado contributes to that, just based on, the different towns and stuff like that and hubs or whatever. But I mean, ultimately, with this town hall you mentioned and this workshop leading up to it, I don't know, how do you see the local Colorado film scene and, as it exists now and kind of where it's headed? Are you hopeful with things like Sundance coming in here? And ultimately, I know you guys need to have the workshop to kind of work through the details of what's next, but I mean, how do you see the scene around here, and ultimately what does success look like for the community to you in the next 5 years? Or
Absolutely. I think that as far as the way that I see our industry here, I think we have a fair amount of different groups of folks in terms of the way that they engage with the industry. We have folks who are they're videographers, they're workmen, they are in a lot of ways day workers who they're happy doing that. They want to be doing that. That is the job that they've signed up for, and that's the thing that they want to do for the rest of their life. And that is an incredible job to have, and definitely something that we want those folks to be part of our organization. We also have a significant population of people who do that work and they want to be doing something else. They want to be taking that next step into filmmaking, if you'll bear with me and with that term. But they want to take that next step into filmmaking, and they want to step up into the world of either documentary or narrative filmmaking and engage on a more artistic or larger budget endeavor. And then we also have folks who I think are often severely underrepresented within our community, who are, I see them throw their own events. I see them do their own little DIY pieces. Mm-hmm. There are groups of artists in every city and town in this state who are really just building a lot of the foundations of what makes an industry, and who are putting in a lot of that work, who don't expect to ever see money come from it, but they're doing it for the love of the work. Mm-hmm. And I think that we also need to make sure that we're not forgetting those folks. and that those folks are being supported by the industry as it grows, because that's where our best and brightest ideas come from. It's where a lot of the people who will work day in and day out to make our industry better come from. And unfortunately, those folks are also the people who are the least likely to answer a film survey. They're the least likely to engage with us. They're the least likely to be visible. And so there's some work to be done once we get past this next hurdle of figuring out how to engage with those folks and make those folks feel like they're a part of our community as much as they are.
Sure.
And I think a lot of that work is what I'm looking forward to in the next 5 years, is that as we have all these new and exciting things start to happen, we're going to have a new film commissioner that was just announced a couple of days ago. We're going to have Sundance coming here. We have a lot that's happening here. As all of those things begin to happen, we have to start to build a more resilient local industry, and one that can, as Sundance pops its head up every year for 10 days, can turn around and at the end of it and go, we're still here, we're still making films, and we are a part of the Colorado community and the Colorado economy year round. Because I think one concern that I think a lot of folks have is that as Sundance comes in every year, it's going to make traffic really bad.
Sure.
It's going to make people really unhappy. And that's going to be the face of the film industry if we don't step up and start showing people that the film industry is here year round and that we are ready to take that next step in creating a better and brighter industry.
No, for sure. I just out of curiosity, I mean, are you guys, we've been going to these events that they put on in Boulder to give updates about like Sundance and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Are you guys trying to kind of fit into that?
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess like any other film festival, it's just, there's partnerships and stuff like that, but I don't know. What is your guys' take on Sundance getting here and kind of, seeing if it at least provides access in ways that we haven't seen before to maybe like a more elevated area of the industry, but obviously we're not just sitting back and relying on that. But I don't know. Yeah. What are your guys' take on that so far?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of different, reactions to have to Sundance coming here. And there's a lot of different things that we're doing to try to make sure that we are engaged with them, but also supporting beyond them. Mm-hmm. And we're doing our best to engage with them, to talk with Boulder Film as well, to make sure that the CFVA and the rest of our industry is included when in 2027 Sundance comes here. As far as how I feel about Sundance coming here, the
Sure.
general feeling that I think, I'm very excited. I think everybody's very excited.
Totally.
But I do think that it does put it puts a challenge in front of us that we have to meet. It puts that this moment that we have to step up as an industry and that we have to prove ourselves as an industry. Now, that is also coming with a lot of opportunity as well. We, for the first time since engaging with the CFVA, and historically, I have a lot of experience talking with legislators from other parts of my life. And for the first time talking with legislators and being in the room with legislators, they're coming up to me and saying, hey, what's going on in film in Colorado? And how do I support film in Colorado? Which is remarkably different. There was, a couple, few and far between folks who would engage with us on that level. But now it is a large portion of them who want to know what's happening with us and who want to take our industry seriously for the first time in a very long time. And on top of that, as I talked about, the general Colorado population now understands that film is something that is here and will be unable to ignore the fact that there is filmmaking and also film exhibition in Colorado. And I think that is a very, very exciting prospect for us to take advantage of.
Totally. Yeah, I'm excited. Well, on that note, I mean, like just looking ahead, do you have kind of a biggest hope for the Colorado film and the Colorado film and video production industry over the next like couple years here, like, and also just with the CFVA? I don't know, what does success look like?
Yeah, my big hope for the industry is that we are able to start creating a more, as I said, resilient, but also a more fulfilling industry. One that folks are able to get the jobs that they not only need, but they want. And that we are able to, from top to bottom, side to side, engage our industry and unite our industry and create something that is unique in the history of our nation in a lot of ways. I mean, we're not talking about creating an industry that looks like New Mexico or that looks like Georgia or looks like LA. We want to create a uniquely Colorado industry that keeps our Colorado attitude, that keeps that balance between laid back and industrious. It is something that is really, really important to all of the people that I talk to in our membership and in our industry, is that we keep that ethos alive. And I think we can do that. And I'm very excited to do that. And I see in Colorado a place that has for so long been a place that people tend to move through on their way to opportunity. And Colorado is now becoming a place to move to for opportunity. And that is a very, very exciting prospect for all of us.
For sure.
The CFVA has the opportunity now to become a central hub for information and connection within our industry here. And what does that mean? Well, that means that in an ideal world in the next 5 years, when you are looking to crew up your production, you can come to the CFVA and go, how do I find these people? And we point you directly where to go. If you're looking for somebody a group that represents your particular demographic, you can come to us and say, hey, where are filmmakers who look like me or who represent my demographic? And we can point and go, that's an organization that you can go to and feel seen and heard and build a community there. That is the long-term goal of the CFVA, is to be that center of a many-spoked wheel that is our industry, and start to build those bridges from whether it's geographically, whether it is different parts of the industry, whether it's different silos within the historic silos within the industry. We want to make sure that those bridges are built between all of those things, and the CFVA has the opportunity to take on some of that work and make sure that those bridges are created.
For sure. No, well said. And I'm very excited to get involved. Well, on that note, just to conclude here, like, how can people get involved, social channels, and follow what you guys are doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can go to CFVA.com. That's where you can sign up for a membership. You can see our events. You can engage and sign up for our newsletter. That's a wonderful piece that comes out once a month that our marketing person Danielle puts together. And then as far as our social channels go, you can go to Instagram, and it is @theCFVA, and follow us on there. And then on Facebook, we have a page and a group, both of which have a large membership and are a great place to get connected with folks. And that's also where we put out a lot of our events and a lot of our news that we put out. And then lastly, we are working on building a more robust blog page on our website. Okay. That will be a place where folks can go for film news in Colorado. And people will be able to see some small, short articles there, as well as generally what the CFVA has been doing in the last month or two.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Noah. I really appreciate it. It was great chatting with you. And I would encourage anyone who's getting involved in video to become a member, get involved, start going to the events. The barbecue that you guys just had was excellent. And I'm stoked for the Halloween party. So yeah, Thank you so much for doing this. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you giving us the time.
No worries. Well, this is Set Talks, the podcast that helps you navigate and connect with the Colorado film scene. Thanks for tuning in.